The topic is taking a gamble. So basically this is really about what is your next gamble? What's something you're excited about? What's something that's worth taking a risk on?
All right. One of the things that we're excited about, we are actually just finishing up a series of projects over the last 4 or 5 years where our building renovation and updates, and then obviously the purchase and renovation of the Scottsbluff Education Center. That's been a lot of work for a lot of people in our community. We feel like it's an important economic driver. When people come into our community and they want to see the schools, they want to see the buildings, it's important, and we feel like it's important to attract and retain teachers as well. And so we're not just doing it because we want nice shiny buildings. It does have an economic impact as well. Now, trying to do that in an economically responsible manner has been one of the things that the board has worked very closely with our district leadership on. And so I can tell you that over the last 3 years, well, before I get there, I want to tell you one other thing. So 3 years ago, the state government put a revenue cap of 3% growth on public organizations, and school districts are impacted by that. So what that means is it was really a way to make sure that the budgets for like the school district can't grow in an uncontrolled manner. So we have had to work within that framework. So I will tell you that in the last 3 years, our levy for the taxes in our industry have gone down, in our area have gone down 44 cents. Now that's great, and as a taxpayer, I'm very happy about that. But it does mean that as we go forward, if 70% of your budget is salaries for staff, you have to keep an eye on that. So we are excited about that challenge. Maybe not excited, but we're looking forward to tackling that challenge. How can you be fiscally responsible and continue to do the things that will help drive growth in our area?
So I guess I'm going to change gears a little bit here and talk about something that's a little more regional, and that is the Heartland Expressway. So I serve as Gering's representative on the board of the Heartland Expressway, which is an advocacy group that is advocating for 4-lane highways throughout western Nebraska, South Dakota, and Colorado. Now this is part of a larger corridor that goes all the way from Mexico to Canada. And this corridor was designated in the early 90s as a high priority freight corridor. And so since then we've been trying to get funding, and under that designation are eligible for certain pools of funding that we wouldn't be otherwise. But when it was originally designated as that, this network of high priority freight corridors was supposed to be phase 2 of the interstate system, that once the first phase was built out, these would be the future interstates. Now, because of federal funding cuts and everything else that has happened, that never came to fruition. But now what we're looking at as an organization, and with the larger Ports to Plains organization, is trying to really push for some action at the federal level to maybe pursue a future interstate on that Heartland Expressway corridor. We've gotten the support of all of the communities along the route. We have 13 different cities and counties in Nebraska that have now signed resolutions in support of this. And so the next step is going to be advocating at the federal level, trying to get, first of all, a feasibility study that would show that how this would impact and that there would be an economic benefit to this. And then if that goes the way we're hoping, the goal is to eventually get the feds to put some federal money behind this, because we've had a lot of success on the local level, but it's all been piecemeal. We've done 4-lane between Scottsbluff and Kimball. We've got a section now from Alliance South, and then we're going to have some here in a few more years. But until we really get that federal piece taken care of, it's going to be really challenging to get that through. And we're hoping that a future interstate would be the way to go for that.
Well, we recently took a gamble, and we're finishing up transitioning to new scheduling and dispatching software. After over a decade on our previous software, we're adding some mobile apps here shortly that will hopefully make our service much more user-friendly, much more accessible. But then our next big gamble is a new facility. Our current office staff of 7, plus our files, our records, and all of our general storage is in 1,200 square feet of a former garage at the County Public Works building. And our bus barn was built in 2014 for 11 vehicles. We now have over 20. We're parking them outside in the elements, and A new bus is now over $130,000. Not something we want to have sitting out in the hailstorm and the snow and ice. So that's kind of our next big thing, and the FTA now requires a 40-year look-forward plan if you want a new facility, and we've already done that. We got a lot of the legwork done up front. Now we're looking for that additional 20% local match funding to build that facility. Ideally, a little bit much larger facility, more administrative space, enough room for future expansion, and state-of-the-art meeting room that could potentially be used as commission boardroom for community meetings, other functions throughout within the community, and ideally more centrally located to serve as a transfer facility, transit hub for outside entities, other transit agencies like Kimball County Transit, Open Plains, who run intercity bus services in and out of Scottsbluff County. It's a long, lengthy process. And we do have to find 20% of that funding, but if we could do that, transit's just kind of blowing up across the state of Nebraska, so we're hoping to continue that trend. Obviously, the funding is the key piece there.
One of the next things I would say I'm excited about is, I don't know if you're aware, but the city of Scottsbluff purchased the administration building from Scottsbluff Public Schools that's right downtown. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some public bathrooms to the back of that building and use that to support the plaza and all the events that we've really expanded down there. So we're really, I think that's exciting and that's something we need. I think I'm also excited about all the work we've done in our parks over the last year or two. We've done a lot of things to baseball fields. We've added a mini pitch soccer system to the Veterans Park, and then are reopening those bathrooms, which we've had closed for a while as well. One more thing I might add is that I'm kind of excited about, we're doing some code compliance and really kind of looking at some properties and abandoned buildings and things and seeing what we can do there and try to kind of clean up the area.
Okay, the topic's taking a gamble. I want everybody to rest assured that we try not to gamble with public funds. We try to make informed, calculated decisions, but I was walking out of a meeting the other day with our finance director, Lane Kazire. And I looked at Lane and I said, "Did that make you nervous?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Me too." So it did feel like a little risky, but there's some good things going on in Scottsbluff. One of our biggest challenges is trying to forecast revenue or future revenue trends for our budgets. You know, we're very sales tax dependent in Scottsbluff, and we're fortunate to be a regional shopping hub. And then there's some, the recent legislative changes that Scott mentioned that we really have to consider and think about what the next session is going to bring. I don't think they're done yet. So, we have an enhanced employment area.
And that is time.
I am done.
All right. I was actually telling my 7-year-old son about this, and he was reading through that. He asked me what gambling was, and I said, well, people buy lottery tickets and no one wins. And he's like, how do I start my own lottery? That kid is going places, I'll tell you that. Let's give them a round of applause.